So we're cruising to our first waypoint and Seb is driving first. Now we have got pretty high expectations of this car.
Very high.
Like seeing the car at Geneva, talking to McLaren, and we just get the sense that this car is something special. The statistics alone is hypercar level. For a car that costs around 220 grand, Mr. JWW's got one on order. This is a very exciting day for him. It's a very big day for him. I bumped into him this morning in the lift and he was saying that he's a little bit nervous.
I'm a bit nervous about it. I'm a little bit nervous about it.
And now, with my expectations of this car and your I'm quite nervous about driving the car as well, hoping that it will live up to these monumental expectations. We have made it to the driver swap. So firstly, I experienced it from the passenger seat and I have to say, I was wowed by the speed and the performance as I was expecting, but as a passionate or emotional car, I didn't connect with the car because maybe I wasn't driving. So now, I'm gonna get behind the wheel of the car for the first time, try and understand the car and work out whether this car makes me smile and whether the McLaren 720s is everything that I imagined it to be. Quick, but it makes you concentrate. Like that's how fast it is. Yeah, it's not like you can accelerate for fun.
Yeah. It's impressive from the passenger seat.
It is fast, as I was expecting it to be fast.
Yeah,
and that's the one thing that I think screwed me on today.
Your expectations are too high.
We bumped into Red Crew.
Red Crew versus Owen. We've all just swapped around though, isn't it? It's a bit confusing.
Yeah, James.
Seb and James are traitors essentially.
So have you driven it now?
Yeah, I've been driving it most of this morning.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, so James has taken over. We were doing some flybys and stuff, and then we're getting some GoPros on the car.
And what are you thinking?
You know what? I've had 45 minutes in the car. My biggest thing so far is it's too sedate.
Yeah.
I feel like they've tried to cover off too wide a bandwidth.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make it a GT, and they wanted to make it realistically quick. So when we were driving out of Rome and on the motorway, I was like, I honestly could be in an 911 turbo. Then we get here, you put it in sport and track, and you're like, it is mind-bendingly quick.
Yeah.
But I don't think that makes up for it. Yeah. I still need to bond with it. I think it's looking better and better by the second.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't convinced on the looks. I think it's looking better. I haven't gelled with it yet.
Oh, here he is.
How's it going?
How are you feeling after your nervousness this morning?
Like,
oh.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
This is why I was nervous, because I've set the bar's been set so high.
That's what I said. I said my expectations.
I think maybe
the bar
that's
set
it.
so high.
Have we all just had too high expectations?
Well, let me just say, it's really important to remember what this car is replacing.
Yeah.
Not what we're used to. Like everyone's asking me, how's it going to compare against the LT? How's it going to compare against the LT?
Don't compare it to the LT.
It's not a car to compare against the LT. As a result, though, it is lacking the drama. Like, is it too good?
Yeah, that's what we said. It's too good.
It's too good.
It's too complete. It needs a bit of issues because like the power, the speed is
I have not driven anything this
and
quick.
the braking,
no.
and the handling.
The braking are unbelievable.
We missed the turning.
Yeah. The brake, I mean, basically everything about it is sensational except for the emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the best car I've ever driven.
So the question is,
Driven.
is that saying more about us than the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I was gonna say that it tells me more about me than it does about.
I said that car, it makes you concentrate and think when you drive it, whereas the Lambo just made me smile.
Yeah. It's a totally different. Yeah.
Right, so now it is my turn to drive. I have driven this car this morning very briefly to just get my bearings, understand the car as best as possible for me to relay my emotions, feelings and opinions, not that they really matter, of the McLaren 720s. Now, a lot of the journalists or a lot of the waves of media that have come out have actually been able to go out on the track in this car, and that's something that we have not been able to do because of the motorbike racing. So we are going to be doing our best to talk about this car or what it is like on the road. And one thing that I really wanted to do was have a hot lap in this around the track with someone that knows what they're doing, so that you can get an idea of the limits that the 720s is capable of doing.
Because I think it would just be so impressive and make you realise what everything they've implemented into this car, what it can achieve.
Because on paper, this car is, well, by far the best car in its category.
Yeah.
We've gone as far as saying that it probably creates its own category of a hyper supercar, because it's hypercar performance for supercar money. What we can compare this car to is the 650s.
Yes.
The 675 LT is the track version of the 650s. However, this car is the street successor of the Super Series 650s.
Yeah.
So cruising around, it's very, very easy to drive. The comfort modes are very comfortable, as you can imagine.
Unbelievable.
The visibility and practicality of this car, you could daily it every single day, I would say.
It's a much better GT car than the 650s ever was.
Much better GT car. However, because McLaren are trying to spread the breadth of its capabilities closer towards the 675 LT, but also closer to the 570 GT, what we're actually going to be experiencing is more of the GT stuff than we are of the LT track stuff. But my expectations of the car was that this was going to blow my mind, and it was also going to make me want to sell my Lamborghini and buy one of these.
Yeah.
However, that is not the case. It's the numbers that this car carries on paper that blow your mind. So experiencing it, everything happens so fast that there is no emotion, or there is nothing in between 0 to 100 that your brain can comprehend to enjoy that journey of getting there. Everything happens so fast, whereas in some of the other cars that you just get a little bit of pantomime, and especially my Hurricane, seeing as I'm jumping out my Hurricane, which I've been driving for the last 2 weeks non-stop, obviously it's not as fast as this car, but it's the experience of the acceleration that in the Hurricane is much more fun and makes you laugh, it makes you smile, whereas the McLaren, because you're concentrating so hard and your brain is having to process so much information at such a rapid rate, that we're concentrating so much driving this car that we're not enjoying it, or it's not making me smile.
You have to recalibrate kind of the way you drive, because everything happens much quicker to start with, and then here, as you say, the consequences are higher because everyone's all over the place.
Yeah, and the power delivery that you get in this car is so gradual that the faster you go, the quicker you're accelerating.
Yeah.
Which, again, blows my mind. We have to remember this company is 7 years old.
That's insane.
It was started in 2010, and when I saw this car, I was so excited about how McLaren have developed this car in such a short space of time and created a masterpiece that has its own class.
Yeah,
it has its own class. And I suppose my video, why it differs comparatively to maybe journalist videos, media videos, we are people that live with our cars every single day. So we will encounter things in our cars and then compare them to this. So our videos are going to be more of like trying to understand what this car would be like to live with. And as amazing as it is and as easy to drive it is as every single day, I would say McLaren have concentrated too much on going towards 570 GT and not to the supercar craziness of the 675 LT. There's so much glass, so much leather, the interior is super plush and luxurious, almost to the point where you'll probably get most of the materials in like an S-Class.
Yeah, well, you put it nicely. You said it feels like a 720 GT.
This feels like a 720 GT, where there could be room for a 720S with less visibility, a little bit more raw. And then you could then go to whatever the 720S LT is, which for me would be the car that I'd have.
That would be a masterpiece. That will be
a masterpiece and a monster. And I think we've discussed and agreed that if there was a 720 LT with aftermarket exhaust system, that's going to be where the car is. Because I was talking to James at lunch, and we were both discussing, because it's such a small part, and a lot of people will probably criticise what I'm about to say, but I mean, it's Supercars London, that's all I've ever talked about is exhaust systems. This with an exhaust system will transform the driving experience. Because you'll be able to hear something scream behind you and feel like you are piloting a fighter jet. Right now, you feel like you're piloting almost like the best, fastest. It's almost like, oh no, I'm not going to say that. It's like planting your foot down in a Tesla. Like incredible speed, but no sense of occasion, and really minimal sound. We are now on the hunt for some mountain roads, hopefully some places that we can pull over, capture what this car looks like on the road, because it is such a futuristic design. It's a love or hate at the moment, but I think it's a grower. I think the more you start seeing them on the road, as we have been doing today, the more you start seeing in different specs, that's when we're really going to be like, oh, look at that one, all blacked out, or satin black, or satin chromes, black chrome thing.
Well, as you say, as soon as specs start getting more and more interesting.
And once they start going into MSO.
That MSO one at Geneva?
That was awesome. That was awesome. So we might not have the most beautiful 720S, but we do have the loudest exhaust system that we can spec from factory.
And we got these race seats.
And we've got the race seats. So there's just ups and downs to this car, pros and cons, but the one way that I would summarise this car is, as amazing it is, I wouldn't sell my Lamborghini to buy one. Which will sound so crazy to so many people, because this car is far superior on paper, but it doesn't pull my heartstrings like the Lamborghini does.
That's not what you're looking for,
No. And oh my god! And the brakes in the air!
Brakes. The braking's almost more impressive than the acceleration. It's insane.
So I'm a little bit confused after driving the 720S. My expectations were so high, and it has hit them, but at the same time I'm disappointed. What is that?
What's going on?
I'm so confused. It's so weird, and I can't really put my finger on what it is. I would love to have more time with this car than just a day, because what we are experiencing is just a snippet of what this car is capable of doing. So what you're watching is just a snippet of what my overall opinion would be of the car if I was to have it for a week.
Yeah.
So it's such a difficult video to create. Hopefully you have enjoyed an insight into my brain as to what I think of the 720s, and I suppose ours collectively, and come on the journey of all four of us coming on a wicked press drive.
It's been unbelievable.
Seb has been filming a behind the scenes of what it's actually like to be invited on this, going further than just driving the car.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna swap, and we are now gonna try and film your review.
Which I'm nervous about, because it is very hard to sum up how we're feeling about this car without sounding like you're just complaining about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go too long and speak too long about it, but we both respect this car so much, and we'll agree that it's a fantastic car.
I think it's a pioneering moment in the automotive world.
Yeah, in the same kind of way as the Veyrod was when it came out.
Yeah.
No one could believe, like, what the hell, like, this is just taking things to the next level. And what that did for the automotive industry is it pushed everyone further, and it's super exciting.
Which is now we see the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is this car going to create off the back in the hyper supercar world? Thank you for watching. Please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already to Supercars of London. This is a slightly different video. We don't get to do things like this all of the time, but it is always a treat when we do. So
we're so lucky.
Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you soon. Cheers, guys.